What the city is talking about. This is Montreal Now on News Talk Radio, CJAD 800.
Good evening, Dan Delmar and Akil Aline in for Aaron Rand. Time for James Mendy of the Montreal Gazette. Hello, James.
Hello, Dan.
I was just reading on Wikipedia the Jaggers are an American rock band from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania that came to national attention with their single The Rapper, which was released on the Kama Sutra album in January 1970. Why this song? Why did it speak to you?
You'd have to ask Aaron Rand about that, but all I know is we've probably been keeping him rich for the past, 12 years, because that show's played every single time that I've been on, and, except for a very few legal holidays, I'm usually on every day. So we once estimated, Aaron and I, that we probably made the Jaggers, if they're still together, we probably made them as much as $6 or $7 over the past decade.
They're probably wondering all this Montreal cash is where it's coming from. James, wrap on, please, about France. What happened there, and why did the pundits get it wrong?
I have to tell you, the first person I thought of it when I saw the results of the legislative elections, second round of legislative elections in France, was you, because I was in the past, and I know you do all kinds of research, lots and lots of research, and I was wondering how much research you would have to have scrapped, because essentially on the weekend it was a lead pipe cinch for the right, indeed the extreme right in France, to take control of the legislative branch of government, and they didn't even come close. I mean, poor Marine Le Pen sobbing like a schoolgirl at the defeat of the what they call now the Rassemblement National. It was a very, very strange kind of a day. Nobody's really addressing why the so-called conventional wisdom was so askewed, why the so-called fund of expertise got it so remarkably wrong. Although I would respectfully submit that we are at the point, Dan, and I think you and I have had this conversation in the past, where the echo chamber, it doesn't matter if it's right, left, center, up or down. The echo chamber is just an echo chamber. That the detachment now that we're seeing between what's referred to as legacy or mainstream or specialized media and the people who are supposed to be consuming it has become so great that, yes, I'm sure that the experts who were looking at what had happened with the European Union elections and seeing the drift to the right, seeing the general overall drift to the right, fueled in a great part, as far as I'm concerned, by fear or hatred of immigrants. All that seemed to indicate that this was going to happen, except, well, there wasn't. It didn't happen. It may have been the presumption on like I say, this echo chamber of expertise that basically said, well, no, we're looking at A, B, and C, so obviously D is going to occur. It didn't occur, and whether it was some would say, the idea that Emmanuel Macron actually held a snap election may have nipped this in the bud. I'm not entirely sure about that. I think a lot of people right now, though, and we certainly, I don't believe what happened in France this past weekend could not have been influenced perhaps by what happened right across the channel in the UK a week earlier, which is the drop kicking of the Conservatives out of power after 14 years, a Labour sweep. There's a nudge to the left, and I just wonder whether we're seeing perhaps maybe a domino effect here, where and certainly in the U.S., where now the events have become so surreal that the last person anyone is considering as a factor in this are the electorate themselves. That it's what this pundit says or what this news outlet is saying, citing anonymous sources, and meanwhile sort of suggesting that Joe Biden is going to be the focus of our attention, even though the demonstrably swinging from a chandelier lunatic Donald Trump. Well, it's a given. He's going to be the Democrat. He's going to be the Republican nominee, and he may be president of the United States. And there's nothing we can do about that. But let's keep talking about Joe Biden. I'm wondering if that whole artificially created dynamic is about to drop off a cliff simply on the strength not only of what happened in France on the weekend, but indeed what happened in Britain. People perhaps turning around and saying, maybe I know what's best for me, as opposed to some pundit on a TV panel thinking that he or she knows what's best for me or the country or which way I'm going to vote.
Now, James, why do you think that elite consensus often takes shape in the first place? I mean, I know you suggested a lot of it is sort of groupthink and going, maybe a bandwagon effect, but where do you think it starts? Why is it so common for the elites to be so out of touch in the first place?
Honestly, I don't know enough about how the system works in France. I don't have an intimate knowledge of the gears and cogs in the French media political dynamic, but I can tell you certainly south of the border, places like the New York Times, even CNN now, are completely in the tank for Trump for no other reason than Trump is going to make them money. Trump is going to get them clicks. Trump is going to help out people who have a lot of money invested in legacy media, i.e. billionaires, because he's going to give them tax dodges. And that is really front and center, all that's necessary. The most recent development I saw, guys, and believe me, one of the first things I learned when I got into this business 40 years ago, so there's absolutely no such thing as coincidence. We have, Joe Biden, oh no, he screwed up during the debate, he's done, he's finished, we got to get rid of him, said the New York Times and CNN and the usual chattering heads. And then I discovered, well, despite all that expertise, Biden wasn't doing that badly in the poll, post-debate polls. And now what do we see? I don't know if you guys saw this today. All of a sudden, the New York Times, this amazing scoop they got, it seems that now between spring of this year and summer of 2023, it only just came to light now, though. A specialist has visited the White House 8 times concerning the possibility that Joe Biden has Parkinson's disease. There's no source on this, and the White House has denied it to a 9-inch plank. But guess what? Guess what's on the news cycle right now? Does Joe Biden have Parkinson's? Maybe he should go. Who knows? And it's so funny to hear perhaps Biden say what a lot of people, what I think more people should be saying, which is put up or shut up. If you don't want me to run, challenge me at the convention. Step up. I'll bet you folding money no one's going to do that. Because why? Because it's a lot easier to be an anonymous source. It's a lot easier to say, well, maybe we should be more careful here. All I know is that Biden, I've never seen this before. I'm no fan of the U.S. at all. But all I know is Biden's done a decent job running the country for the past 4 years. And I don't care if he stammers or if he forgets a word every now and then. We saw what the previous 4 years gave us. And I know we don't have the time to go into that, but I think one stands in stark contrast to the other. But it's going to be very, very interesting, guys, to see if what manifested itself in France this weekend may start popping up more commonly on this side of the ocean, and indeed on this side of the border. Because I think to a certain extent, and I'll throw myself in as those who need to be blamed as well, perhaps there's too much expert opinion and not enough listening to what's happening on the ground when it comes to the politics of this country, or indeed any country right now that is facing an electoral process.
James MENNIE of the Montreal Gazette. We'll talk NATO tomorrow as the Prime Minister is in D.C. Thanks very much.
Adamant.